All right, we're going to get started. Welcome. Hi, everybody. My name is Lauren. My friends call me LB. And we're talking today about sales management. Mostly, we're talking about fears, F-ups, and those fixes. And I'm going to share a lot of my own stories about my journey through sales management and how and why that led me to write the sales manager training curriculum that I did for my company, Factor 8. So if you haven't been here before, we do a monthly sales shot as part of my company, Factor 8. Here are some of the logos that we work with. We work with SDRs, AEs, ISRs, account managers, customer success folks, anybody who is working with a headset and calling businesses. That's the kind of training we do most, but my favorite thing we do is help reps make that transition to manager. A lot of us are in this job as manager without any formal training. And that was my story, certainly. And man, that's rough. All right. But spoiler alert, next slide. For my aspiring managers, my other company is Girls Club. And this is my passion. I'm telling you about it because it's open right now for our Generation 7 cohort. And what we do in Girls Club is help women in revenue-related careers, so anything in sales, marketing, enablement, RevOps, customer success, service, etc. We help women rapidly get promoted into frontline management. Our goal is to help more women reach the top, and to do that, we're filling the funnel with those first promotions. So Girls Club is the way we get them there quickly. Here are some stats you can look at for yourself. At the end, I'm going to give you a QR code where you can nominate a future leader. So if you have somebody in your organization who's a rock star female individual contributor, then go talk to her about getting into leadership. So I built Girls Club as well as the curriculum for Factor 8 about how to become a great sales manager. I remember how painful it was. I'm going to share some of those stories with you. But here's also why we're talking about it, folks. Managers balance everything. Like every customer, every deal, every rep, right? It all goes through our frontline managers. You guys have an enormously important job. And most of our frontline managers were reps 2 or 3 years ago. Less than 30% of companies, current stats say 28% of companies actually provide training for managers. I just think that's terribly sad. But I get it. Back when I was an enablement leader, like some of you on this call, like you only have so much time and so much budget, and the reps get it first, new hire, then ongoing, and maybe someday we'll get to managers. It's expensive. There aren't many of them. It's hard to prioritize. But I think we should be prioritizing it today because there's some scary stuff happening out there in our front lines. So let's start with this. Who wants to guess this number for me? Type in a number, it's a percentage. Recent study, we found this on LinkedIn. What percentage of managers are reporting burnout at work? Who can tell me? 76% Michelle Jones is on the board. Jackie's at 84%, 46. Nathan's got a better job than you ladies. I'm just teasing. 47% is the answer. Well done, Nathan. You were within $1, right? 47% reporting burnout, which isn't a big surprise, is it? I was at a wedding recently of a friend, and a friend of mine I used to work with, Eric, was talking to me about, how life has been for him. I haven't seen him since pre-COVID. And he says, listen, I love working from home, but it's mostly hard on the managers. It's great for everybody else, but it's really tough on frontline managers. And not surprising, this number is also really, really close to what percentage of sales teams hit quota in 2024. Rough. So Amy, launch that poll for us. Let's see how our group feels. How many of us are experiencing burnout? Now, this is anonymous, so people won't see if you're on here with your manager. Ooh, look at these coming in. I have 0 votes right now for I'm cool as a cucumber and no burnout. Oh, medium is taking it. Super crispy. Oh, we got a couple. I'm going to end it and show you where we're at. It's a medium level. Yeah. So not a surprise, right? About 50% are experiencing it. Most of us, 80% of us are experiencing some. All right. So we want it to be better. Thanks, Amy. You can go ahead and stop that share. So it's tough to keep it positive, especially through the economy that we've just been through. I know that's tough. So we want to be impervious to the burnout, and it's not easy to do. We want to be like this guy, right? We know this guy. Type his name in. It's Ted Lasso. Absolutely. Right. I mean, have you ever seen a coach with a better attitude? Ted Lasso knows how to not just win deals, but hearts and minds, right? But you want to know the biggest difference between you or your management team and Ted? I mean, besides his fabulous stash, Ted lives here. Every episode of Ted Lasso, he's on the practice field, right? He's got this ratio of 10 to 1, like 10 hours minimum of practice to 1 hour of play. Our teams are exactly in the opposite, right? When we do a good job of ongoing training, we get 1 hour of practice to about 50 hours of play or sales calls. And that's if we're doing it every single month. A friend of mine runs inside sales for a local company here in Phoenix, Waste Management Open here in a couple of weeks, right? And he said it perfectly. He says, we give them about 3 weeks of training on systems and processes and company and product. Then we let them loose to practice on our customers. Ted lives on the practice field. But us these days as managers, we live here. I mean, fair, right? Type of one right now, if you and or your team spend 80% or more of your time remote, not on premise, but working from home and remote. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Yeah, that's tough, right? This is hardest on the managers, just like my friend Eric said. And we're going to add to that in the last few months that we've cut spending, right? Where there's less training, there's less contests, there's less SKO travel, there's fewer reps and a hell of a lot more noise. And if I'm going to be really honest, your team does not look like Ted's. Our teams look like this. All right, I know it's harsh, folks. I know it's harsh, but the workforce is getting younger with less experience. My friend Regina is the GM of a large software company. And she said, LB, I have two people, she's from Texas. I have two people right now on medical stress leave, and they have never once worked a full 40 hours. So she feels like the teams are made up on this. So the workforce is changing. Type of two, if you can still recruit somebody who's got 2 years of sales experience, a college degree, and played a competitive sport, because that was everything I hired when I came up, right? And my peers. Can anybody recruit this? Am I seeing any twos? Not available, folks. Last month, my team went out and did a sales assessment. That's what we do before we start training. We listen to calls and we look at reports and we try to customize a training plan. And it's shocking numbers they called me with. They said, Lauren, we've got 350 calls so far this year. It was September. And there's been a team of 70 doing it. And I said, okay, well, 350 calls for the week. That's not bad. They said, no, Lobby, it's for the year. It's harder and harder to get people to make calls, right? Where I'm hearing it a lot from folks. There's a lack of phone confidence or having more trouble connecting. Yeah. Am I doing okay here? I'm not sugarcoating it, but I'm not making this stuff up, right? Right, folks? On top of this, our reps aren't able to learn from their peers like they used to, can they? Because they're sitting at home. And managers own the slack. So hell yeah, we've got burnout. I'm going to frame this for us another way. So my leaders, pay attention here. Same in enablement, right? We know that as leaders, we have three major levers that we get to pull to fix things. Type in if you know the answer to this first one, right? Blank and process and tools. What's that first one? Anybody know what that P word is? In that leader playbook, people. There it is. Thank you. I tied you, Nina. So people, process, and tools. Those are the big levers, right? So if you were going to translate this, work with me here. Process is about consistency, right? Tech, it's about efficiency. When we talk about people, it's about quality. So here's the question. If you had a magic wand and you got to pick one of these levers that would have the biggest impact on your customer's experience through the buying cycle and impacting their decision to buy from you? Would you want better conversations, more regular or consistent conversations, or more efficient conversations? Of course, it's better, right? But, folks, this is our number one F up. As leaders, we're skipping the skills. We're doubling down on tools and process and playbooks, but we're not giving them the skills. And sometimes it's easy to do that, right? Because skills aren't on fire. Oh my God, there's an emergency. Somebody doesn't know something. No, the emergency is the deal or the report or what the boss wants. But studies show us that people spend double on tools for their team than they do on skills for their team. And that can be really, really tough. So, just a quick word of warning, especially in this gorgeous world of AI, right? AI is going to fix everything. I've been asked to be an SME for 5 pop-up coaching tools, right? Because we're just going to tell reps what to say in the moment. Here's the problem, guys. We're trying to solve a quality problem with an efficiency solution. AI is not going to fix quality. It's an efficiency solution. Here's something that you can talk to your sales leaders about, right? When they're excited about buying the latest AI tool, a little weapon for you. Who AI would work great for are the masters of the game. Here's a picture of the best QBs of all time, right? Like, you recognize some of these faces. AI would be so freaking cool for these guys. Imagine, like, you have a pop-up display and a helmet. And it's like, oh, I'm reading the defense. I've checked the game tape. I know what play you're supposed to be running. Stop, juke left, run an audible, and do a screen pass. I made up all of those words. I don't use them right. But right, like, AI would tell them what to do, and they would be able to do it. And the reason is because they are fluent. They know every play. They know every player. They know where everybody should be on the field because they've become masters. They've spent decades in the game. It takes 10,000 hours to become a master. And I just want to know how many of your sales reps have that. It's like putting a pop-up display helmet in this kid's helmet, okay? Our sellers aren't fluent, so be careful about getting them ID or getting them AI. We need them to ID, deeper discovery, have better qualification, right? We need more quality, not more quantity. So that's F up number 1 that we can fix. Let's help our managers train their teams because it's the busiest job in the world. Their reps are coming in lower than they used to. We can't recruit what we could. Everybody's remote, and it's all falling on our managers' plates, and that's not fair. Okay? It's not fair. I'm also going to tell you that 9 out of 10 sales managers are crappy teachers. I love y'all, but you were great sellers, and great sellers are usually not great teachers because it's an art, not a science. So here's the way I fixed it, right? The first one was we wrote a class for sales managers called Developing Your Team. It's literally how to do what you're supposed to do to teach your people. It's going to make it a little easier for you. Lots of tips and tools and free resources and individual development plans. And I'm telling you about this class because at the end, you get to pick one free. Okay, I'm going to tell you about 6 of them. You pick the one you want, write it down so you don't forget. Now, the other thing we did was create a sales management system. It's called the Sales Bar, and it literally has 4,000 resources to help managers identify the skill gap and then push a solution to solve it. When I was a young sales manager, I spent like a whole weekend preparing for my first team meeting. I recognized the skill gaps, right? They came out of training knowing about the product, but not how to sell it over the phone. So I was like, I'm going to teach them. This is going to be great. And I put it all together, and it felt like I was playing, school in my garage when I was a 12-year-old girl. And I got it, and it was amazing. Sadly, the team meeting was like 2.5 hours long. It went so long, but people loved it. And I was riding high, and they were trying skills, and I'm high-fiving myself for being this great development manager until Friday came along, and I realized, ooh, I got to do it again. Okay. Your managers don't have time to do it. So give them the resources to give to their teams. You don't have to use mine, just use somebody else's. All right. Okay, here we go. I'm about to share with you managers' biggest secret. I've had the pleasure of working with thousands of managers around the world. Okay. I mean, thousands. And we spend time together and we develop and we get these mentoring relationships and they tell me their secrets. All right. I'm going to tell you some of their biggest fears next. But first, I have to explain to you that the vast majority of managers that confide in me, they feel a couple ways. The number one thing they say is that they just feel massively disappointed. And I hope that's not the case for you, my friends, on this call today. But most folks get into this role and they expect to have a team of thems, right? But you were a superstar. You earned this promotion. And all of a sudden you realize that you don't have a team of 12 A's. You've got a lot of folks who have trouble showing up for work. You got a lot of B and C players. They don't know as much, they don't care as much. And there are massive skill gaps, and they're not trying as hard to fill. So it feels overwhelming to new managers. And here's their number one secret: they're afraid they made a mistake. Why did I get into management? Maybe this isn't for me. It's not their only fear, however, right? I've cataloged about 17 more, and now it's time to cue the Family Feud music. We're going to talk about what those are. So I've cataloged the top 6 fears and failures of new managers up on the board. And because I don't have you here live with me, we don't get to guess what they are. So I'm going to show you. Think right now. What do you think is on the board? Write it down if you are brave. Chat it in. Doesn't mean you're admitting it was yours, but go ahead. Feel free to be brave enough and do that. What do you think are the top 6 fears we hear from new managers? Jackie, Joy coming in. Nathan coming in. Love it. Anybody else? Number 6. I'm afraid I'm going to let people down. My leader took a risk on me. I'm afraid I'm going to mess it up. Okay, this is the point in Family Feud where you go, good answer. Good answer. Okay, next one, number 5, answering, I don't know. We think we're supposed to have all the answers. We're super afraid people are going to test that. I remember feeling that way. Number 4, ooh, Yvette loving it. Nina loving it. This is it. Nina nailed this one. Having the difficult conversation equal to delegating, because both of those are a little scary and risky when we're not used to doing it and nobody's taught us how. Number 3 answer, imposter syndrome. They'll find out I'm in over my head. Nailed that. Let's see if we've got number 2 out there. Making a mistake. Yes, Jackie Joy, number 1 answer on the board, the fear of failure. It's tough. None of their top fears have to do with sales, with hitting numbers, with customer escalations. They've got that. What they're afraid of are the parts of the job they've never done before. And I'm going to prove that to you in our next few slides. But by the way, I see this in Girls Club. Okay. The women who come and apply to be in our once a year cohort starting April 1st, they apply because they're thinking about getting into management and they're just not sure, but they have this aspiration to be a leader. But over half have literally never applied. We ask them why, and these are the top 3 answers on the board. And folks, what that says to me is fear. It is. And that's okay. It's normal. We're all a little afraid of this job. We've never done it before. But over the next 5 months in these programs, we watch them build the skills and the confidence, and it is beautiful. So watch me brag for a moment. A 70% promotion rate and over 500 promotions today. It's lightning in a bottle, right? And I'm going to give you the secret. Get out your pens, get out your phones, pay attention. Are you ready to the secret sauce of Girls Club? It's how we fix all the fears. Offer them training before the promotion. Only about 1 in 10 of my Factor 8 clients do this, right? They send their high potentials to the manager training. Brilliant. They are going to come in so much stronger. It's also going to about triple the number of women that you see apply for management roles. And by the way, one other, Eileen's in that 70%. One of the things you can do is go and talk to those women. That's why the QR code at the end is a nomination page. It's for you to go out and find a kick-ass woman in revenue and say, hey, Eileen, Have you ever thought about leadership? Because I think you'd be pretty fantastic. I think you should consider it. The vast majority of women in Girls Club come in with that story. So we built a page for you to tell us why to nominate her. We're going to send her an email with your comments that I promise she's going to keep for the rest of her life. Okay. But you need to go encourage also. So, folks, this is a fix for all of your managers. It's not just for Girls Club, it's our secret sauce. You can do this, right? Send your high potentials to manager training. Bring management training in for your current managers. All right. The other thing you can do, okay, number two is preventing that fear based failure with new managers. This fix flushes it out for your existing managers. Host an F up night. Now, you may call it like a quarterly offsite, whatever you want to call it at the SKO, right? I call it an F up night. The point is that as a leader, you start first and you share your mistakes and you make it a safe space for them to do it as well. Something beautiful happens when people admit out loud that they failed or that they feel like failures. Because everybody's walking around pretending they got it. Everyone's afraid to fail. So we're going to do a quick poll on that. Again, an anonymous poll. Amy, launch that sucker for us. How confident did you feel in your first couple years of management? Super confident. Fake it till you make it, baby. Medium or low, what on earth was I doing? Here come the votes. By the way, 0 so far for super confident. I wish that more people talked about it. I'm going to end it in 3, 2, 1. Look at that, folks. Look at that. Nobody showing at the top. This is, I think, a big reason for this statistic. 60% of us fail right away in management training. So we want to avoid that. Here we go. I'm going to share my most common fails, my stories about them, and how you can prevent them. I'm going to tell you the class I wrote when I started Factor 8 to help other managers avoid these failures. And again, you get a free one, so write down which one you want. Okay, here we go. This was me. I was a sales manager at 24 years old. My team were all older than me, all men, all had experience in IT. I had none of that. Be clear, all I had was a really good interview. No way. Somebody should have hired me for that job. Okay. Be clear, the guy who did hire me did not keep his job. But this was me. I was Ms. After Dark. And I bet you know one of these. Feel free to claim it if it's you. Okay. I was so afraid to fail, but I wasn't sure what to do. So I couldn't leave my desk because anything I did didn't ever feel like I was doing enough. So you'll know you've got a Mrs. After Dark in your team. If she's always the last one online, she responds to an email in 10 seconds flat, and she spends most of her time behind her computer looking at spreadsheets and numbers and emails and not with her team. That was me. I didn't see the light for about 3 straight months. So the fix to this is teaching a management cadence. A cadence is like a sales management process, right? You've got a sales process, you need a management process. It helps tell people what meetings to have, how often, what good looks like in those meetings. It makes a huge difference, right? Everything changes when you get managers into a cadence. The class we wrote for this is called Essential Manager Meetings. Eileen, we did it in Girls Club, right? It makes a huge difference, right? I would have killed for this in 1998. And folks, some managers stay here for years. They're very reactive, right? They're trying to work hard, but they feel like imposters and they can't leave their desk. Funny story. While I was at my desk one night until 8 o'clock, this is the land before hybrid, one of the top reps, the only other woman in the division, she was seated next to me and she came in. She's like, "Oh my God, you're so great. I can't believe you're working so hard." She nominated me for the company award, which I won. So there's a big poster of me and my team in the front office, right? I was manager of the month or whatever the hell it was. But I felt like an even bigger imposter at that point. However, Here's fix number 5. My leaders, do it for yourself, do it for your peers. Tell people they're doing something right, right? You got to have a pretty big ego to survive in sales. Then you jump up into management because you were so good at it and you just fail day after 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 you get it. So when you have a chance to compliment a manager about something they're doing right, take that chance because everything changed for me when Jill got me that award. It really did. All of a sudden, I was ready. I mean, let's be clear. It had been about 6 months. It was the only compliment that I got. And folks, I hung on to that compliment like P. Diddy's hanging on to his innocence. I actually got up out of my chair, okay? And I went straight head on into the next F up. And I see this one a lot. I became the deli counter hero. You need something, take a number. I will come to the rescue. I will put on my cape and I will solve it for you. This fear and failure often presents also as the firefighter or the whack-a-mole manager, right? Any other brave heroes out there? I see it number 1 when we're out there teaching new managers. They're hiding that fear, okay? Deep down, I'm really afraid that I'm going to let you down. I'm really afraid you're going to find out I don't know the answer. Their heart's in the right place. Unfortunately, doing everything for everyone is kind of a sign of a low confidence. And what they desperately need is fix number 6, helping managers learn how to say no and get proactive instead of whack-a-mole reactive. The class for this is called Own Your Day. It's typically voted on number 1 favorite from any groups we work with. And it talks not just about basic time management, right? Find any time management class. What we focus on is helping managers say no and push those inbound requests into the meetings we created in essential manager meetings and the cadence. It's about safeguarding time. And you know what happens when we do that? More time with their team, more time coaching, less missed meetings, shorter line at the desk, shorter queue in Slack. Yay! Loving the applause. Thanks, Nina. Okay. So now people start to dig into people development. And you know what happens next? We slide straight into this one, the mini me. Now I have to be honest, I skipped this fail because I literally had 0 success stories to share. But the people who land here are typically former reps. They are great reps. They've been at your company a while. And you can spot them because they're talking about stories of when they won. They're giving people scripts. They're probably trying to hang on to a few customers. They often have 2 or 3 favorites on their team because those people are willing to be mini me's. When it comes to coaching, the vast majority of managers do live here. And unfortunately, it's because great reps make crappy coaches. Sorry. But y'all are so good at it, it's an art, not a science, and you can't teach it. I've been teaching sales managers how to become better skill or call coaches for 20 years now. And I have learned the hard way that it is the number 1 hardest skill to shift. My call coaching class used to be 30 minutes long. Look at the bottom of the slide now. It's a freaking 4-part series. That's how long it takes to shift this behavior. It's really hard, folks. So if you have not taught your management team or you haven't invested yourself in how to become a better call coach, it's worth the time. Okay. Write this one down. We start with coaching model and move all the way through coaching 101, 201, 301. Your managers need it. And I'm going to prove it to you right here. Sales Executive Council. How nice of them to stack rank management failures. But there it is. Number 1 on the board, call coaching. It's our worst skill. And I absolutely not only can attest to what I've seen, I am not a naturally good coach. I am a horrible coach, right? I wrote these classes to help me and those like me stop taking over calls, telling people what to say, giving laundry lists of fixes. Leona is here. Sorry, love, that you got to have me as a coach. I'll get you somebody better soon. It's tough to do. All right, let's move on. What happens after we get past this fail, right? I skipped the mini me and I went straight into this one. You did a great job. You did a great job. You did a great job. I went right to cheerleader. Everything is awesome, right? And then after hours, I was this. How can you spot this manager? Well, they got their head in their sand a little bit, right? Everything seems like it's awesome and they're super, super happy. What performance issues? This manager probably has a lot of low performers on the team. Everybody loves this guy, big energy, horrible forecasts. Yes, I was here as well. In fact, I got stuck there quite a bit. Now, how do you fix this? We got to teach folks how to manage performance. Okay. I had two big fails at this as a young manager. Fail number one was actually, how do I translate quota into what my team is supposed to do every day? Okay. That is a skill we've got to teach. How do you break down those goals? It's not making it a SMART goal. It's taking my team needs to hit 1.2 million and turning that into what do I manage people to every day? That's fail number one. We teach that, driving performance with goals. Fail number two was learning how to hold them accountable, which is tough, right? I am going to be honest, I still sometimes struggle with that. And the truth of the matter is that as I moved into cheerleader slash wino, this is where I broke. Okay? It was about 9 months into the job for me. It was right day 176 of captivity. I walked away from the desk at about 7:30 at night. I had tears in my eyes. I got into my maroon Mitsubishi Eclipse and drove to the Tempe Town Lake apartments. And I couldn't get out of my car. Just sat there. Like, I think the door was open, my foot was out, the seatbelt was on because it was one of those automatic ones that choke you. You guys know, right? My husband found me out there. Like, I cried for hours, drank a lot more wine because I still didn't know what the hell I was doing. And I will tell you, to this day, still the hardest gig I ever had. Sales managers, you are not alone, right? If you are doing this with absolutely no problems, then you need to come teach this class because I was a hot mess. And be clear, right now, I run 3 companies and have 2 kids. Sales management was still harder. Okay, that's it. So I called Jill, right? That fabulous woman who nominated me for the award. And I called her to let her know that I was really, really sorry, but I had to quit. And Jill said, like she does, oh, gosh, you know what? I never thought about that. You're new, and your whole team is new too. That's probably extra hard. So Jill has a gift for stating the obvious. But it reminds me to teach you about a fix here, okay? Jill was my wise mentor, not honestly about the advice, but because I actually admitted my fear out loud. It took the blinders off and realizing I was new and I didn't know what I was doing and that was okay, right? Jill's like, you don't have to know it all. You're new. Your whole team's new. Ask for help. Duh, I suddenly spent less energy hiding. And I realized why I was failing. And in fact, I'm going to tell you, I think it's the real reason that we all fail at first, why that 60% failure rate is there. The 6 fears, the 10 skills, it really all comes down to one thing. And I'm going to give you a hint before I tell you what it is. It's something that all of these things have in common. When Fleming invented penicillin, it's because he went on vacation and he left his petri dish out. Viagra was try number 2,345 to cure heart disease. Potato chips were made by a chef who was pissed off at a customer. They were all accidental breakthroughs. And breakthroughs happen the same reason that managers really fail. We don't know what we don't know. Think about it. Your managers are your best employees. They're your best reps. They're the smartest people. And they are flailing around doing stupid shit, sticking head in sand, cheerleading, staying late at night. I sent an email my first month to motivate my team. Good luck. Come on, right? It's not that we can't do it. It's that we don't know how, and we don't know. So what's possible, what great looks like, Like, we need to understand all of that, especially in this virtual world. Jill helped me see that I didn't know what I was doing and I needed to fix that. So then I became this manager, right? Cue the music montage, baby. Like, da-da-da. I was going to go learn how to do it. Research, books, departments, lunch and learns. I got the whole team involved, right? Called a big meeting, got pumped up. I made cheat sheets. Please note the inspiring team name, 17-9. But like, we buddied up. Randy configured the deals and Sean broke in and got them talking, and Pat navigated the deal desk, and Melissa helped us figure out like what the process. We embraced our ignorance as a team. And in 3 months, we were number one. So that's the next fix. Teach managers what good looks like. This is the class we almost always teach first. So you can skip through the 9 months of drama. It's called Your Role as a Sales Leader. And it helps define the difference between rep and manager. It helps set goals about what kind of leader they want to eventually be. It's how to tell if you're doing it right and get past the fears and the failures faster. And almost every time I teach it, somebody hugs me and thanks me for helping them understand what the hell their job is. You can do this for yourself and for your managers, okay? I'm just going to translate this one more time and see if you get the same aha that I did. All of our fears and F-ups lie over in the red, right? The fixes are the knowledge and the skills, right? Sales management should be taught. Let me translate this. The green, I know what I'm doing. Well, that was the rep job. The yellow, oh, this is what I picked up along the way as a manager. And the red is what's standing between the management team and everybody hitting quota, those high performance teams. Imagine what would happen if every single manager on your team's performance went up 20%. We impact every rep, we impact every deal, we impact every customer. So let's not skip on the quality and let's focus on training up our managers, right? Let's add this, please, to our priorities for this year. Now, if you're interested in what some of these critical new manager tools are and skills, you didn't take notes along the way, you can download this free resource. Amy, launch the poll for me while I'm showing this, will you? I want to find out how many folks have gotten management training or how many people feel like training would actually help. If we could wipe out the red and help teach managers what they don't know. How many people believe me that it's going to make a difference in performance? Awesome. Awesome. Look at that. We got 100% in the yeah, probably. So if you want your one free class, here it is. Go to factor8.com/MGR. The promo code is Jan25. Woohoo! And last but not least, leave this up one more second. I'm going to give you a QR code so you can nominate a future leader for Girls Club. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Please go find a superstar, encourage her to get into leadership and help us get more women at the top in revenue. Scan this QR code. You can put in her name, information, and why you think she's fantastic. And we'll send her an email that's going to change your life.